Thanks for tuning into my channel here. If I'm lucky, you guys found this through subscribing to some of my other trailer videos, which have some great tips on them. But this one today is going to be the 5 tips that you can use to get reliable trailer wiring on your economy utility trailer. In the past, I've bought a lot of trailers and had to deal with a lot of trailers that other people owned. Those flat 4-pin economy wiring systems don't hold up real well, and even the way they run the wiring on these trailers, I find I get it from a manufacturing standpoint, it's very economical and efficient, but it's not something that sustains itself for the long term of owning the trailer. So follow along here, and I'm going to show you how to improve your trailer wiring. It was a system that I've come up with and developed over the time. It's the most reliable system. I might even go so far as to say it's bulletproof, because I've lent trailers out with this configuration. They come back and everything's still working. So that's my test. If I can do this, lend my trailer out, and it comes back in great shape, I think I got a real win. I'm looking to share that with you now. So here's the overview I've got of the components that I'm using. I said 5 tips. What you can see here, I've got the LED lighting. I've got the Pro Plug product right here, which is kind of the standout gem of this operation. I've got some good wiring here. Actually, good wiring's over there. I like to use the double insulated wiring. Something around 16 gauge is awesome, but the double insulated I really think is important, because most of the single insulated stuff I see is what fails. And then I've got good connectors here, grommets and things like that. And so you count out 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to throw the 5th thing is that what I have is dividers, the conduit there, keeping that wire protected. So if you use those 5 tips, LED lighting, the Pro Plug system, good terminations and connections, and quality wiring run through protective conduit, you'll have an extremely reliable trailer wiring system that'll give you years of trouble-free service. So here we go on this mission. I'll do my best to do it step by step as I go. It may be edited slightly out of sequence for what makes best sense for your build, but follow along and I hope you enjoy this. To work on this, we're going to raise it up a bit more. I don't have my jack system on there. Check out one of my other videos for a really clever way to come up with a jack system that works well. Don't get me wrong, this is going to have it soon, but for the purpose of today, I'm going to manage with a pair of jack stands, this straight ball setup here to get it up off the ground. It's probably natural for some of you guys, but anybody else that didn't consider it, let's check it out, see what we do to get it a few inches higher, make it easier to work on and running the wires. Changing this front setup to this straight ball hitch setup. We're going to be able to grab probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches higher in the front. They'll make up the rest in the back. And just like that, we've got it up off the ground a little bit higher, so working on it isn't so difficult. Okay, most of the heavy lifting was done yesterday as far as running conduits, setting all the holes and setting grommets and things like that in there. So I'm just going to run over what I did for my parallel wiring on this trailer. Starting here at the Pro Plug, got it set up here. I'm going to make the wires come through here, come up through the bottom. I like the bottom penetrations best, so the whole time the trailer's sitting in my yard, rain's gonna kind of run off the drip loop and not run into the plug or seep in there anyway. We've got on the back side here, I've got the ground lug there where I'm going to tie right from the Pro Plug to that ground area there. On the back side of this here, I've got this conduit that is from the factory on this trailer, and that's going to run out the back here. So let me take this there we are, our conduit's running out the back. We're going to come through this here As I split to the right side, we'll go through this conduit, which I've ground, but will be getting welded to the chassis. And then this is going to come up through this hole here into this conduit, running all the way back to my light setup. From the down out of here over and into this grommet here, into the bottom of the light box. Now right here are my 2 grommets I put in there. I welded these light boxes on ahead of time. My biggest regret is not realizing that I wanted to keep this lower bracing. Made it hard to drill those 2 grommets there. So if you're going to bolt these on, you're going to be at an advantage. It's just a little bit more critical to make sure you run the ground back to them if you bolt them on. The welding's excellent, but I kind of shot myself in the foot doing there. So if anyone else is copying this and has a similar obstacle they're keeping there, just be mindful of that. So that's what we've got. Everything's run there. Then when I come out of this junction box after I terminate it, I'm going to follow it back through everything, back into the conduit, come back up here, and then I'm going to take these 2 wires that I've got. Now I'm hoping, if I'm lucky enough, I can make my junction right here, and that's where I'll do my connections for the side marker lamps, and this will reside in this 9D pole end on the conduit there. I drew up this hand schematic because I just don't see much available on the internet. I figured I'd give you an idea of how I run my parallel wiring. Now I will zoom in a minute here so you can get a better, more clear look at this. But I have it laid out here, and I'm going to use some scrap pieces of wire to simulate the routing of what I'm talking about before we walk through it on the actual trailer. So what I like to do is I like to start at the Pro Plug product, wire 2 parallel circuits to this point here. That point 1 continues on to this rear brake lamp as a junction, and then out of this rear brake lamp junction we're coming back up forward to the side marker light. On this side here we're coming across to the brake lamp here and then up. So these 2 wires are 3 conductor wires. On this side I'm using a 3 conductor wire there, coming out to the junction box with a 2 conductor for, from the rear moving back forward. Then over here I'm going to have another 3 conductor wire going to the rear junction at the brake lamp, then out of the brake lamp back forward by way of conduit through the side marker lamp. The big advantage I have with running the circuit in parallel is the only areas for splices and junctions and all that to fail are at the brake lamp junction, which those light boxes do an excellent job, and at the Pro Plug product itself. The other advantage, if you do come up with a short, I'll show you in a minute how we can use the Pro Plug product to look at the LED indicators to see where it is. And when you have the circuits running parallel, you can individually isolate a left and a right circuit, whether it's a running lamp, brake lamp, your turn signal, even the ground. So that's what we've got there. The 3 conductor wire that we're bringing back to the brake lamp, again, will be your brown running lamp, your turn signal, and I'm also bringing a ground. Trailers are notorious for having challenges with grounds. Depending on how it wiggles on the ball, the ground may or may not be good enough as you run down the road. We're going to ground it up by the Pro Plug product. And we're going to actually run a ground also all the way to the rear light boxes. I found this to be extremely helpful. More grounds on a trailer circuit, the better. So this is what we've got. Let me grab the camera here and zoom in a little bit more and give it some time for you guys to see my schematic. Try to keep it uninhibited here. That's what we've got. If you want to pause this video at this point, take a screenshot or something there, this is what I've got. For anybody looking to do this, the white wires came pre-terminated with a round eyelet, so I assumed that was the ground circuit. These two wires here are relatively easy, and we left one other wire to complete the circuit. And see what we got there. So I just put some red heat shrink because that's what I had. It's kind of a rusty red, using that to indicate the brown wire for the running lamp. Same with this one here. And then over on this lens here, we've got two wires, a black also. So this black, as you can see, I already put the shrink tubing on there. So that's the lamp there, running lamp, and then the brake light, which, as you can allude to with the green wire, since this is the right side, is that circuit there. So I'm going to terminate these pieces and start adding them to the junction box. I've got the longer lead here. I'm going to go right from this beginning of the conduit there, pull back to the junction, figure out my length there, then run it over and up to the ProPlug product. So maybe I'll do this in real time. Let's see how easy this pushes through the conduit with the 3 conductor wire and the blue, which is 3 conductors black, and the blue wire is my 2 conductor. Let's see how this goes. Pulling this out. So this should be more than enough. Got this here. I have to feed those through that hole individually. Let me pause the video and we'll see how it turns out. Since my ground stud is bigger than the little piece that they gave us on the end of the wire there, I'm going to put something a little bit bigger on there. I believe strongly in when you got to use a crimp connection, that use a proper crimping set of pliers that have that piece there that really cinch it down. That way, you know, you got a decent crimp. It may not be as good as soldering, but I've had a lot of success with the quality butt connector that has the heat shrink on it like this here. A proper crimp with a proper crimping tool. There we go. Add the heat shrink here. There we go. Do this a few more times, and then I'll show you what the assembly looks like in the light box. All the grounds are tied together right there. You back up. Looks a little bit messy here, but we'll get all this stuff in here. Coaching cue I can give you. Put this piece in, and then press that into it is the way to go on these. So let's wrap this up, and I'll come back in a minute. So I leave enough wire so I can pull this out and work from the outside if I ever need to troubleshoot or diagnose anything. Pop this in. Try to get this now then into here. Alright, let me work this gasket a little bit. course, we got the rain coming now, so might have to shut off this video and pack some things up here. So with the rear taillights taken care of, the conduit buttoned up, and the connection made up there for the side marker lamp. This side done as well, maybe with the exception of a zip tie or two to tidy it up, and a few tack welds on the new conduit to make sure that stays in place. Get to move on to my favorite part of this build. I'm going to wire up the Pro plug here. I'll take a couple short videos of this section here, and I think you'll really find this to be an excellent $35 add-on to any trailer. It significantly increases the reliability, and when there is a problem, diagnosing and troubleshooting is extremely quick. The Pro plug has a 3M adhesive I'm just prepping the surface for. I'm going to use this is what we got here, the Pro plug on the back. You can see the 3M adhesive. Peel that off. Use a clamp to apply pressure for about 2 minutes, and we should be in great shape here with what we have. Like that. This is a little prep for my fresh ground bolt. So I drilled the hole, grounded on this side, made sure it's accessible, so I grounded on the back side. I'm going to take this hardware here and set up my ground lug. So with just 2 screws here, we can take the cover of the Pro plug off to reveal this great junction. So I plan on bringing these wires here, cutting them shorter to length, up through this bottom penetration here, landing them in the appropriate terminals. Probably from that camera you can see what do you got? Running lamp, left signal, right signal, backup, brake, battery, and ground. This might be the first time I'm addressing it in the video, but I am going to a 7-plug adapter because every vehicle that I run, and quite frankly, if I'm going to lend this trailer out, I'd rather lend on a vehicle that is equipped or the owner has installed a 7-pin plug. So not all these circuits are going to be used on this trailer build, but I still believe that the 7-pin connector is hands down superior to the reliability and durability of the flat 4. So I've got everything terminated. Going from left to right, I put some shrink wrap. It's that burnt red I'm using for brown. That's my running lamp. The next one is I got my left turn. That's the yellow wire. I have a little trick for you if you're trying to remember between yellow and green, right and left. I always reference the double yellow line on my left hand side represents the yellow left turn signal, and the green grass on my right represents the right turn circuit. So there we are, brown, yellow left turn, green right turn. We skip over a few circuits that we're not using. We can see the one just before the white ground terminal is lit because I'm using the 7-wire plug for my truck, and we have 12 volts going to that terminal. I do like this because this junction box for $35 really helps to diagnose it. And when we're done here, I can zoom out for a second here. Let you know I'm just going to reach over here. I can unplug it, remove it from my trailer, and nothing sits out in the weather. So I think it's an awesome system, and I'll continue on this build, summarize a bit, but just hitting home real quick. I think that Pro plug is a real game changer in the way I wire trailers. So thanks for watching the video here. You can see we got a little bit of the old trailer wire harness still sitting on the deck of the trailer, and everything lit up that we've done today through the video. I really appreciate the feedback I've received on my previous videos. Keep that feedback coming. If there's a specific suggestion or something you want to see related to some of the things I've done trailer videos on or otherwise, leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear suggestions, feedback, questions on what I've done here. I'd love to hear that too. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you think it's worth something, share this amongst your friends, or maybe even put it up on your Facebook page if you know people who have a problem with trailer wiring. So I'd love to hear some more feedback. Comments down below. Up in the description, I will leave a link to the ProPlug product, as well as possibly a download for the hand-drawn schematic I use for my parallel wiring. Again, thanks so much for the feedback. Like, subscribes, and keep it coming. I can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief. All the wiring's done, and it all worked out successfully. The only thing I haven't really touched in this video is the ProPlug wire harness. It's a really nice way of having a double-sided 7-pin connector harness. I didn't know it originally, but I kind of cobbled this thing here together a few years back when I had to put a band-aid because the flat 4-pin connection just, was getting pulled apart from frequent use. So I cobbled this thing here together. As you can see, this trailer had a lot of things working against it, so this wasn't the total solution. But I thought it was interesting that I was pursuing something very similar before I discovered this awesome product. So it maybe shows a bit of my bias. But this double-sided harness, for as nice as it is, and I'm kind of the nerdy guy that sees the value and spent the money on it, if you wanted to recreate this trailer rebuild, you could technically take your harness, whether it's this setup here or even a flat 4 configuration, and just on one side of it, in this case where this one is, you could put the 7 terminal to plug right into the ProPlug and use whatever you've been using to connect to your vehicle. So I see this as a step up, an upgrade to go for the full system with the 7-pin double-sided harness, but it's not necessary. You can get away with just modifying the wiring you have existing if it's in good shape. Something I wouldn't do, but I do want to make the suggestion for someone who's trying to improve things, Johnny Cash style, one part at a time, and it's a quick and easy upgrade if you ever decide to get the harness at a later date. Out here this morning with this trailer, it's all lit up, working beautifully, so come on over here. Just want to see how great an experience it can be when you got working trailer lights. So I've got this light done here. I've got the grommet that you see protecting it there, and the hole that we have there, the wires are going to come up from there into a conduit that I'm going to run towards the back. I'll go over wiring in just a minute. What's up, guys?
You want to help us build a fort?
You actually caught me a good time. Let's do this.